ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not the one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one for us, not a blade of grass. This land is our land now. We're gonna make it somehow. We will make it about, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we are moving from here. Make no mistake. No, we ain't giving up no mountain. No, we ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not the one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one for us, not a blade of grass.
All right, guys, you know, as we advertised earlier that Bryan Max is going to join us. Bryan is on the road. No, he's not doing Uber. No, he's not doing taxi. No Uber Eats or nothing. He is now Guyana's running man. M-A-N, running man. We will get to Bryan Max. He's in Georgetown. He's not in hiding. He's not running. He's not afraid to confront the wicked demonic forces in Guyana. And we know who those wicked demonic forces are. Whenever you stand up and you confront them, they get paranoid, they get annoyed, and they run to the court to protect them. That is what they do. And this particular individual, Barrett Jack Dale, has a history of not just running mad, but running to the courts so that the court can depend on the court to protect him. It is not going to happen this time. It's not the first time we have seen this. And so do share the link. Bryan Max is with us. We are just going to give you guys another minute to share the link. Hopefully by then, Bryan Max his car is not going to run out of gas at all. But one of the things that we got to be careful, because, you know, recently Bryan complained and he showed the evidence that his brakes was actually tampered with. In other words, Bryan is of the view, and he presented the evidence that his car brakes was actually tampered with. And had he moved off driving, as he usually does, guess what? Bryan Max would have probably attempted to step on his brakes, obviously. And what do you think would have happened by then? There would have been no more Bryan Max, and lots of folks in the PPP hierarchy, mind you, would have been rejoicing. The number one rejoicer would have been the man who sued Bryan Max for 5 million Guyana dollars. I'm not sure where they expect Bryan to get this money from, but a lot of you guys would have been putting your hands. Well, we know Bryan could be a rich guy too, but we'll ask him that some other time. But the other news is that Jack Dale has sued Bryan Max for libel. Jack Dale files $5 million lawsuit against Bryan Max. $5 million.
I actually feel slighted by that $5 million, man. Mark,
yeah,
good afternoon to your viewers.
Go ahead, sir.
I actually feel very upset that it's $5 million. You know, I thought it would have been like 100 million, because I mean, but water sued Critic Yardie for 100 million. Somebody sued Victor for 750. That's 5 million feel like really small, man. I don't know if I can ask them to go back to the court and up the amount, like maybe 100 million or something. Make it like really important, you know?
Yeah. What is so ironic about this lawsuit by Jack Dale brought against you is the fact that he didn't go. They usually rush to the Ethnic Relations Committee, or they rush to the cybercrime. That never happened, but he went straight to the court. What's happening there, you think?
They know better than to go to the cybercrime. They know better. They sat down and they deliberated on what to do, where to go. Big meetings. And I always got a little spy cam and a little spooks inside, a little boy that always just come back. And so they decided it would look really bad if they go with cybercrime. And I told that to Melly Mel the other day when I talked to her. She said they're gonna go cyber. I said no, they will never go cybercrime with me, because then that would go back to the charge that I almost got. I didn't get charged, by the way, during afternoon. They just held me for, I think, 36 hours, and then apparently I heard that the former president, Mr. Granger, when he actually heard that I was locked up, apparently he made a call and he said, "Let that gentleman go, let him go," and that apparently that's why I ended up with bail and it all. That's what I heard. Somebody called me sounding like the former president, pretending, or maybe someone pretended to be, and I understand that the former president himself, Mr. Granger, is the one who called when he found out. Because, he was a busy man and meetings and all, and he wasn't aware of what was going on. Oh, and apparently when he did find out, he called and said, "Please let Mr. McIntosh go."
Brian, we want to get into a couple of other things too. But what exactly is this libel about? What is Jack Deal saying that you libel him about?
But they haven't served the document on me as yet, Mark. So technically right now I haven't been charged. I haven't gotten well, it's not a charge, it's a private lawsuit filed by Mr. Sanjeev Datadin on behalf of his client, Bar Jack Deal. So I haven't actually seen the document as yet.
So you're
I haven't
unaware.
seen it. I was out yesterday. I had to go up to Bartica. I flew down back from Bartica. I had some stuff to do up here, and I'm back in town. It only takes an hour to get to Bartica, an hour to get back out of Bartica.
One of the things that
So,
I must applaud you, you're doing exactly what Jack Deal loves to do to people of that country. He doesn't like to receive anything from the court, no summons or nothing. You can't find him, and so Jack Deal shouldn't be upset that they can't find you now. You are in
but I
Guyana, you're
actually,
not hiding. Unlike Jack Deal, he hides.
I actually sent him an email, not an email, a WhatsApp message, and I said on Monday at 10 o'clock, I'll come down to Freedom House. I'll be in front of Freedom House at 10 o'clock on Monday, tomorrow Sunday, Monday, to,
So that
to get the warrant. So if the court officer can be there at 10 o'clock on Monday in front of Freedom House on Rob Street, not on their pavement or anything, I will be standing there waiting for the court bailiff to turn up with the writ, whatever it is, whatever you call it, the writ, the
Mhm.
summons to go to court to answer to this charge of libel. So on
Whatever.
Monday at 10 o'clock, to make life easy, I don't want a guy driving up and down the road and I'm not home and that kind of thing. 'Cause I'm a very busy man.
And
So
not only that the court martial, you are going to go to them. And we do hope that when 10 o'clock on Monday morning, we will go live with
yeah,
you in front of Freedom House
yeah,
receiving
we'll
that.
go live and your cameras will be there as well.
Now, let me ask you this, Mr. McIntosh, known as Bryan Max. Are you afraid that you will eventually be assassinated under the PPP regime, like others have been?
Well, everybody else is afraid that it'll happen. I don't know if I'm afraid that it'll happen because I'm not afraid of death. So I don't know if I'm afraid, but I know they will attempt to do it. They cut the brakes in the car already. The car was parked downstairs of the clubhouse of GMRNC right below, right next to the jumbo jet vehicles. When I came out, I went over to the pit, the paddock area where the race cars and drivers are, because it doesn't make sense to leave South Dakota too early and up in the traffic. So we go over and I talk to the Bajans and the trainees, everybody who come in. I am like the icon and the guy and the friend of everybody for motorism. I was the former editor for the magazine for 8 years. Until I didn't stop doing it, I was the chief race announcer for South Dakota for many, many years. So I am like the guy of South Dakota. Everybody knows me that I'm the guy you talk to for anything South Dakota. You get in trouble with the officials, they give you a hard time, you call. So my car was parked right below there. I was in the tower most of the day. Although I wasn't working, I was still using my privilege and I was up in the tower. So the car was parked right downstairs. I was looking at it from time to time. But then when I left to go over into the paddock area about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and the place got dark, they looked over because at the track, when the president of Ghana, Dr. Finale, when he was there at the track, he came up. He his entourage had about 8 or 9 of the guys who were to guard the containers with us on the PPP side of it. So you had Dale, you had a couple of the other guys, you had Troy, who I know well, who was a former bodyguard, former policeman, former phantom, and former bodyguard of Schober, Carol Schober, former deputy, former town clerk of Georgetown. So I talked to all of them and we were girlfriend or whatever and fairly friendly because we know each other. Everybody knows each other, right? And we spent a month at the Kingston area, and then we spent another set of time at the convention center area. We know each other. Politically, Mark, once you get involved in politics and you meet up on these camps, meetings, seminars, whatever, you become friends, even though the public image is that politicians don't talk to each other. We all talk and make tantalize and make fun and make light of stuff. And I was talking to them. And then I went in deeper with them in conversation that how much I did for them, how much I did for these PPP soldiers on the ground. I don't know if we can all call all of them guardians, but fair enough, they were their guardians. So let's call them guardians to the best of the word. So I know them all, and I even talked to the guy who was given the order, and he gave the other order to another guy to go and cut it. Troy is the man who got the order, and Troy sent his subordinate, Junior, to go and do the cutting. It just so happened that when I got back to the car, probably about 8:39-ish, because we were hanging in the pits and golfing and talking, and it's old friends, right? It was strange when I walked down the slope that my car was alone. Because I had left it there with all the other vehicles that belonged to the promotion company that did the VIP tent. And all their vehicles were moved and on the other side. And it struck me as strange because I know they were still at the track. And the fact that they moved the vehicle from where it was, their vehicles from next to mine, and put it away, like trying to make some distance between us. It was very strange. It was like strange, in like, all right, my vehicle's alone. Like I expected it to still be with all. It wasn't that late. So then I went in the car, started the car to put in. Every time I go, what I do as an instinct, because I started a movie a couple of years ago where they cut a guy brake line, and he didn't mash the brakes, so he had a stick gear. But these automatic cars, you tend to mash the brakes. But I got a habit that I would naturally mash my brakes really hard. Because as a mechanic, right? If I mash it hard, if something was sliced, it would cut and pop there. And not when I'm going down the road and something pull in front of me and I have to then brake hard and then pop, you have no brakes. So a mechanic, as a guy who's been about, know how the political scene works, I know I have been antagonizing people. I know I've been antagonizing Jack Dio in particular. And I know how vicious, I know narcissistic he is. And he doesn't like to be challenged. And he thinks he's God. And he thinks he owns Guyana. And he thinks he's the brightest thing since sliced bread in Guyana. And he's not. I have proven here over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that it's almost like fishing in a fish tank at this point with Jack Dio. I'm actually bored. I'm playing 5D chess and I'm playing Ludos and Snake and Ladders.
Let me thank you much for that explanation about your car brakes. And people are glad that actually you found out early o'clock that your brakes, according to you, it was tampered with. And had you not been able to figure that out, you possibly would not have been here today to tell your story.
I want to give you a little bit more tips,
But before we get back,
because I want to clear up a lot of misconceptions and these. Where the evidence that people are saying. Let me go quick, 5 minutes. Listen now. So when I got into the car, I realized something wrong. But this is my car, Mark. I love this car. I prepare it. Even in the day, going to the track, I change the oil in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, change the oil, new filter, check the radiator water, check everything. Because I know it's a good driver. and get the vehicle and go down. Not that it's not always in go down. We just saw a little pre-check. So I went through brakes, everybody had no issues with brakes whatsoever. Can't get ABS, really a good car. Stops on a dime. So when I realized that something was wrong, I opened it. There's a cylinder, the master cylinder, completely empty. Totally. I like at this point, Mark, I ain't figuring out really that somebody cut the line. But in my mind, I know that the line cuts. I figure out the place full of mongoose out there and rats and whatever. Maybe a little cow down, gather the line, and maybe a mongoose see it and decide to a mongoose decide to bite the line. I'm giving it at that point. I'm giving it that benefit of the doubt. In my, even though I'm a political force that they're long, I am thinking if somebody cut the brakes line, man. Not in a public place like that. Not at South Dakota with so many witnesses. And not with my car that everybody, and it's a pretty little car. People look at it all the time. They like it. It looks really good. It's an older car, it's a 25-year-old car, but it's in such pristine condition. It's a rocket ship. It can come down from South Dakota, from the Suicide Turn to Rahaven in 10 minutes. I did it already. It's a fast car, a turbocharged car. It's in excellent condition. So, when I realized this thing is this massive empty, that shouldn't be. Anyhow, let me go on. I went and checked with Harold Hopkinson first. After you got any brakes fluid, they said they only got .5 because they're car race cars. I said, well, that can't work because it got something inside of it. Don't you worry now. I'm with you, Mark.
Yep. You are with me. Take a couple of minutes to explain your brake story. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll get to the other stories.
Let me wrap it. I want to wrap it up quick so we can move on to other topics.
Sure. Thank you.
But it need wrap it up.
Thank you.
So I went over to Ricky Rodius, my mechanic, who is coming to help me from time to time to do heavier jobs. I do the final things. I say, you got brakes fluid. He said, Raj got brakes fluid. They got a 2 pints. So I went and collected from him, white bottle. I went and as I poured it into the car, it just leaking out. Just straight as I keep pouring it started leaking out. And any mechanic would know that any quarter pint to half pint would be more than enough fluid to put in a master cylinder. It's a little small thing, you put it inside. Quarter pint, little above quarter pint would bring your brake cylinder right up to where the fluid level should be. It keep pouring out. And at that point, I said, the line cut. Even at that time, I even figured that a man cut the line, I just figured out maybe the line cut. So, as I'm standing there with the bonnet open, Paul Yearwood and Jonathan Yearwood drove up. Paul sounded as if he was in a panic. And get in the car, drive away from here now. Go in the car, drive away. But you don't have to tell me twice when I see panic in somebody's voice. So I jumped in the car and I went away from there in a hurry. Now anybody would know that your handbrake is a mechanical, is not a fluid base. Your handbrake always works in a car because it literally got a metal cable that operates mechanically and not hydraulically or by fluids. So even if your brake line is cut, you have no brake, nothing in the pedal, your handbrake, you just pull it up and keep it in the pulled up position and it will slow the car down. You can stop it like if you get all four, but it'll slow it down enough. Your two back wheel would be doing it. So I left there and the plan was I'm going to take it at a friend's factory on the highway. So immediately I went down the highway in a hurry because I used to drive in the bush for 8 years. So I am well versed with driving without brakes, driving old vehicle. It's a thing. I know how to do it as a race car driver. I used to ride grass track. For fun of it, I don't even use brakes sometimes just for the fun of it. See how far I can push it in the corner without putting my foot in the brakes. A mental game I play. So, ain't no. And I had a witness in the car because I took up my assistant to the track with me, a young lady who was part of the hockey team that just won the GCC for GCC, they just won a championship. One of the young ladies in the team was the young lady in the car, my assistant. Came up to take photographs. I was training her on photography. She want to
If
learn. I said, no
one,
problem.
1 second, Mr. Max, if we can put a break on this great
Break.
story for now. I think by now the Guyanese people, we put a break on this. The Guyanese
Yeah,
people,
right.
majority of the Guyanese people
They know it
believe
happened. They know
the
it happened.
story. Believe they
Yeah,
don't put it past.
right.
Uh, yeah. Um.
I want to Mark, in my wildest imagine, why would I want to make up a story like that about a man like Jack there?
Absolutely.
Who would got the police crawling over my car? Who would
People.
got the police crawling over suicide? Who would
People.
got the
Brian.
police all over the track to find out
Brian.
witnesses? Right
Brian.
away, the police will investigate.
Brian,
Right away.
people are not stupid. People know exactly what transpired. People are not stupid. But let me ask you this here, though. You guarded the ballot boxes and so forth as part of a group that has been coined as Guardian of Democracy and
Yeah.
so forth.
I am the guardian of democracy.
Good. My concern, though, and I'll ask you this question. After the PPP got into office, after they got installed, um, it's dead. It's done with. Nobody wants to hear about the opposition SOPs any longer. Nobody
Right.
wants to, the PPP no longer want the elections petitions. They're the only ones who are fighting and fighting against the elections petitions. Why do you think that is the case, Mr. Max?
I think they know that time. Remember the time, Mark? At the time when the elections happened, March 2nd, we had all the SOPs, we had all the ballot boxes. We can check them. They were going through. They had already done region 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Now,
Completed
hold
the
on.
countdown
One,
was being done.
one
Only
second.
4 was left.
1 second. They
So,
could not have finished Region 1 because the polling books for Region 1 went in late, way after by that
okay.
region. Good, but go ahead. Continue, sir.
Right, well, right. Well, all right. Let me put out one, which is probably about 1,500 votes or 5,000 votes. That is very much whining. They ain't
Good.
got a lot of voters. But they had kind of wrapped up everything except for. But I want to believe that, after time, things happen, things on earth. Because I've got the information that there was jiggery that went down in Letem and Anai with some Amerindians who walked from Brazil to Suriname who were registered and all of this. And you know what? I made mention of this, not now, Mark. I made mention of this a long time ago. That there is something you can look at in Region 9 that happened with these Amerindians who were registered in the area who walked from Suriname to Brazil. So they're nomads. They don't have a home. They just walk. But the PNC did nothing to follow up on it. I made this statement because a little Indian boy come inside a 50 boy. When they rile me up, I just talk. So I had just gotten the information the day before he came playing the ass, and I said, Region 9, let them and I look at these Amerindians who were registered. Maybe they weren't Guyanese. Take a look at it. But they did nothing. The opposition did nothing. And I said it, and I said it and they typed it more than once. And then the guy repeated it, and I expanded on it, and I said, look at it. I can't hold the act no hand and carry them on. I give you the information. I give you the look into the area. So they very well know that if this election petition is done, that maybe stuff will come out now that the elections, time has passed and stuff has suddenly appeared. Maybe at a time when the election was fresh, maybe stuff didn't come out, people didn't talk, maybe nobody mentioned nothing. But now maybe stuff happening now, and who knows, new information every day is being, people get, remember now that you got people now in the PPP who are no longer happy with the PPP, who may have done skullduggery for the PPP. Maybe Royce Ford got information like that now. And I have been saying, as part of democracy, if we're gonna fight to have the votes counted, and we're gonna insist that the votes must be counted and all that, I am saying, Mark, let us follow through the full force of democracy and let us have the election petition heard. I said it on my page a number of times.
right,
I
Brian,
sent it the page a couple of times.
I heard you say that, you called for that, and that is commendable. However, there is something sinister about this whole thing about the 2020 elections, where the PPP is now in office. They don't want the SOPs to be open. They don't want the elections petitions to be heard. I am questioning it, and I suspect that you now and others are beginning to question why. Something isn't right.
Well, we must follow through, Mark. You have to follow through in the full force of democracy. Just like how no, just like how, just like how I insisted that votes must be counted, Mark. I insisted that the election petition be heard
But they don't want it. The
because
PPP doesn't want it.
it's part of the electoral process of democracy. The losing side, perceived losing side, must have access to the courts, to some system to hear their grievances. To hear their grievances, you must have it. And to deny the opposition party, a main opposition party, who got 214,000 votes, there's only 14,000 votes decided the elections. It's just a couple of ballot boxes, a couple of polling stations made a difference. So, in the light of democracy, in the sense of democracy and wanting fairness, because that's the problem with me. I'm an extremely fair person.
Let me.
I have no sides in this. I have no horse in this race.
Max, let me ask
You and
you
me,
this.
Mark. You and me, Mark. We're the outsiders. I was in your team for Team Bench Cup for Mayor in 2016 and 2017. I was your candidate for Consistency 5. Sophia
And
Lingadal Patterson. I was your
Ronald,
candidate. My face was up on the signboards. Team
some
Bench Cup for
people,
Mayor.
some people may not receive.
We always the guys in the middle.
But let me ask you this: you for 1 month, because I know that there was a photograph of you even sleeping next to the ballot boxes with a selfie stick.
It's a selfie stick. It wasn't a gun, eh? It was a
Yeah,
selfie stick.
that's why I say selfie stick. Now, Brian, the fact that you and others were there next to the ballot boxes, quote unquote, guarding the ballot boxes. Now that the PPP is in office, they don't want anything to come out at all about the
Here.
election. They don't want the SOPs to be revealed. They were calling on the opposition, show your SOPs, show your SOPs. They were saying they want the elections petitions to be heard. Nothing so far, they don't want that. Do you, upon reflection, would say that there's something about the elections that you did then when you were guarding those boxes?
At the time. At the time, count the votes, count the SOPs, every vote must be counted. Now that, time passes, and as time passes, things come out. And right, therefore, the lawyer for Apno FC is beyond brilliant as a lawyer. Beyond brilliant. This guy who is doing the case for Jack Bill, Datadin and Royce Hill Ford and I worked together when the PPP guys were trying to take over the Guyana Cricket Board. Datadin and Royce Hill Ford beat up on Anil Nandalal like a boy. Beat up like a boy on Anil Nandalal. Nandalal, every Nandalal come and run up and bowl them boy. Them boys a holy ball. Them boys stop batting after a while. They never even bat. Them boys just catch him out of the hand. And they destroyed Anil Nandalal. That's why they pulled in Datadin into the PPP. He wasn't ready because he fought against Anil Nandalal with Sarwan. They wanted to take over cricket. They had big plans for this CPL. They had it, but I don't think the CPL was happening then. But that CPL thing is kind of what they had in mind to do. And they wanted to take over both the ground and the football ground and make it into one big venue, and we can have all the fancy facility. It's a good thing the guys at GFC, Ghana Football Club, didn't take the bait, because you already had the guys at border on the wraps, because a lot of Indian PPP guys were in there, and they would have gone along with it. And they would, of course, have built a fantastic facility. They would have owned it after a while. It would have been theirs after a while because they have this thing. They have to own everything. Gotta be their own. They ain't just letting it be a
and
facility.
so
No, it gotta be their own.
they
Covetousness.
mash up Anil in
So
that case.
mash it up.
Yeah,
When they were running in by Lionel Hanneman's house,
the
that's
late
how
lineup.
sick and devout and deprived these people got. They ran into Lionel Hanneman's house and searched his house, all his wife drawers with she own personals. Throw them on the floor, searching for documents that belong to the guy in the cricket board. And they go by an Ansanasi house. And they went by the guy who the cadre man from Bangside, I can't remember his name now. Search his house for documents to the guy in the cricket board. And you know where the documents were? In a blue rubbish bin in my front yard. Sealed up in my front yard. I had the documents in my yard. So when Datadin wanted it, I took the documents over to Datadin in a big blue rubbish bin.
If we
Say,
can,
I want back the rubbish bin when you're done. It was
if
in
we
my
can,
yard. I had it. I had no fear of keeping it in the yard. I had no fear. Even though
uh,
the police are searching the whole place. I had no
Bri-
fear of keeping it.
Brian,
And
if
I
we
had
can
all the originals.
if we can stick a pin, mash a break on that there, no pun intended on the break part, because people do believe that Jack Dale was probably, who knows, knowing Jack Dale very well, uh, may have the operative word. Nobody's saying that he does, but may have. Let me ask you this here in retrospect, as you see how the PPP is behaving now. And at that point in time, your view about the opposition is that they rigged the elections. It seems to have been a point in your time now that you have some strong feelings that maybe there's a possibility that that didn't happen. Would you say that you are convinced to some extent? I know you're a straightforward person, that the PPP could have rigged the elections also?
They had thing happen. Thing happen. Nandalal name get called in Monrepo. And I hear the had little teeth in Monrepo with cats. She wrote. So Amnali wasn't really wrong. And Basil Williams, who felt sorry for him, Nandalal, because I saw the tape and Basil actually eased the story off. When he was under pressure and he got and he scared because he got frightened. He was afraid. He suddenly saw jail. And I'm now saying, Neil, your name a call by. And it was Basil who softened up the story for him, you know. It was Basil who softened up the story for him. I watched Basil felt sorry for him. And Basil quieted down Abnali. But they got thing we should go back into that area and they should. They say I can't do the work for the PNC. I can't. They have to do their. I mean, I can help them. I'm willing to help any of the political party except the PPP. They can't get no help from me. They can't get no help from me. They
Let's
got
talk.
enough help with the democracy that I fought for that they benefited from. Because I didn't fight for them. I fought for Ghana. I wanted the votes must count. That's all I wanted. The vote come the votes. Because I can tell you something. I don't think the PNC would have tried to put nothing in the ballot boxes. But some people are Mark, don't think for a minute that the PPP was happy with me out there, you know. They weren't happy with me out there, you know. I had to fight to be out there. I insisted on being out there.
Max, why you think they
It wasn't that I was cushy with them. After a while it become so hostile.
Why do you
The
think
people left me at night, Mark, they left me at night. I fell asleep in the car at about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Because you're tired as a mountain out there. And when I woke up, I was alone. Alone. They had every single body was moved. They probably was meant to send back one of their boys and cut my throat and then say, look what Granger do this man. And that's when we fell out. The little friendship that we had and the cooperation we had. Because that's the day when I called Jack, they and Anil two pussies. And up to now, the vex by the pussy name, what I call them. That's the day when I called him. That's the morning when I stood and I said, I ain't afraid, Exxon. I ain't afraid. I was so disoriented that when I look back at it, I said, what Exxon had to do with it and what the poor lady from the U.S. Embassy had is not them, but it's I think I cried the day because my friend Fox came. A guy named Fox, my old friend. He came just as he came. I came out of the car and I like, where everybody boy? I've never seen the camp empty before. I never saw it up. So the plan, I think, is why their plan was to kill me tonight and blame the PNC because that's how they know to do politics. That's the kind of politics the PPs play. They left me out there alone. Why y'all left me alone?
You think at that point in time, Max, that they knew that they had something to hide, and because of your fairness, that they didn't want you to know what was going on in
Did
that.
did it? You sound very fair. I call it down. In motor racing, we do it. When people in motor racing are being bullied, I stand up for everybody. I'm the one who would stand up for everybody. So if I listen to Mark, if I had an inkling that Mr. had a chance, if I would then be fighting for him too. If the democracy fitted him, I would have been there fighting for him as well. And it is sad in a way that so many people mix up fighting for democracy as fighting for the PP. A lot of PP supporters think that I am part of them. Oh, you fight for democracy. I fought for democracy. I didn't fight for the PPP. Is a strange concept because not many people are nationalists. I'm a nationalist. I'm a Guyanese. I love this country. I love Guyana. I want the best for Guyana. I want the best part to run Guyana. And that's why I always prop up any political party that, because the stronger the opposition can be, the better the government, because once the opposition is strong, and that's why I like this girl Amanza, and I like Mr. Ford, Rysdale Ford, because if they right now the APNO is dismantled, it's in trouble. The leadership is poor, very poor, extremely poor. The leader of the PNC he's out of his league. He got our Uncle Aubrey can stay as the leader of the party, but Uncle Aubrey can't go to 2025 as the candidate for presidential candidate. You gotta let Rysdale Ford, who's one of the brightest legal minds in the country, or you gotta let Amanza. Amanza can be PM or president or vice versa. It doesn't matter. They're two brilliant young people. Brilliant. And they don't come with the old baggage.
Let's
I don't think Rysdale Ford, a lot of people have ever seen him animated when he's having fun, when he's with friends. They see him as this very strict, stern, uptight guy. But he's not that guy. He's a very nice person. I've known him now for over 25 years.
in
He's
a
the
recording.
legal counsel for a company that I work for. And I know him from there in cases.
Point taken, Mr. Max. Let us get to several allegations, and mind you, I want to make it lucidly clear. Allegations linking Barra Jagdir to the assassination of Ronald Waddle, linking the PPP to the assassination of Satyajit Saw, former Minister of Agriculture, and linking the PPP to the death, the assassination of Courtney Crummy Wing. Why, sir? Let's start with Waddle.
Ronald Waddle was a good friend of mine. 2 days before Ronald Waddle was assassinated, Waddle called me and said, Max, so why you come on the show? Because I like how you explain stuff. You're a teacher, you're an informer, you're a man of, you know the way of the world, and you have a way of explaining things that makes people understand easily. And I want you to come on the show. And then 2 days later, Ronald Waddle was dead. Apparently, when Ronald died, when he was assassinated, when he was killed, they had 3 teams on the ground trying to kill Waddle. They say 3 teams on the ground at the same time. 3 groups of people came to the point to kill Waddle at the same time. That's the information I heard, and I think that's in the media. What else we haven't done? Why haven't we done an inquiry, a national inquiry into the death of Waddle? Let me do an inquiry into the death of Mr. Waddle. Let us clear up matters in this country. Too many issues in Ghana are left and swept under the carpet. Just like how we can do an inquiry into just how we can do an inquiry into the death of Walter Rodney 35, 40 years ago. Just like that. we can do an inquiry into the death of Ronald Waddle and get it over and done with. Let the chips fall where they may.
What
Whoever
what
killed him, if you have
what
the
do you
information,
think?
let it come to light.
Why are they afraid,
Why
do you
leave
think?
this? Why leave such important national matters just lingering in the air? And that's why you need an independent court system who can call such an inquiry. Let's find out what happened really with Kaicho News and the murders of the 14 or 15 people. Let's find out what exactly happened. Let's have inquiries into Saturday Osaw's death. His family is begging for one. Let us have inquiries into the death of the Lusitnan people.
But Brian, let me ask you this: isn't it suspicious that during the PPP time that Minister Saturday Saw, who was then Minister of Agriculture, was assassinated along with Rajpat Saw, along with Pulmati Prasad, along with Curtis Robertson, and so forth. And the PPP has been running away from any inquiry at all. Isn't that suspicious?
But what's even more suspicious is that the word on the street that I heard is that persons in the PPP heard that Saturday Osaw was a Canadian agent working for the feds, gathering information. That's the word I heard. That Saturday Osaw may have been a plant or suspected to have been a plant. All right, let's use that terminology. That Saturday Osaw was suspected by someone as being an agent for a foreign nation, maybe the States or Canada. It is said that somebody in the PPP believed that he was snitching on the PPP and sending information out on a monthly basis.
Good. We just leave that as it. Thank you, Max. But before we go, this guy, Freddie Kissoon, we all know
Fred
Freddie.
Waller.
Max, Freddie is driving some new vehicles now. But
Yeah.
outside of that, Brian, outside of that, uh, Jack Jill. Jack Jill actually sued Freddie Kissoon, Kaiser News, and so forth, sued Freddie Kissoon for calling him an ideological racist.
Racist.
That
Yeah.
matter, that matter. Look, there it is. Kissoon's lawyer seeking to prove Jack Dale was ideological racist in $10 million. But
Yeah.
look at this here, Brian. I know you're
Yeah.
driving, but look at
Yeah,
what
I'm watching it. It's right there.
it
I got
says.
it on a
It says Jack Dale withdraws libel suit against Freddie Kissoon and Kaicho News against Freddie Kissoon. And so this matter was settled, money was passed. We can just assume behind the scene, Freddie probably collected his many black brown paper bags and all manner
yeah.
of things, and the matter done. Isn't it strange that Jack Deere always goes after to sue and sue and sue? He banned Gordon Mosley from entering State House and office of the president. He's suing you. He sued lots of other people before. You think this is going to end up like how it ended up in Freddie Kissoon, Jack Deere withdrawing?
No, we want them in court. I got about 5 or 6 lawyers. Them might say, Max, you don't pay us. We can pay you. We want him in the witness box. We wanted Jack Deal in the witness box. He took the bait. He took the bait and he sued. I threw the bait out. I threw the corn out. I had my corn in the ground. I just said, let me throw the corn. He picked up the corn and he sued. Well, he got it in court now and he got to go in the witness box. And them boys waiting. Men lining up waiting to catch Jack Deal in the witness box. I don't think he thought about that part. He probably figured he would have been home and I would have been in the witness box or the crime box or everything. But he didn't figure out that them boys waiting for. Waiting for. Nigel Hughes waiting for. Everybody waiting for Jack Deal. Men say, Max, you don't pay we. We can pay you. We want to pay you for just to be at the case. Men lining up for Jack Deal. So he took the bait. I always say I'm playing in 5D chess. And the man playing stake and ladders and ludos. I am bored now. I thought the man would have given me some competition. But it's I'm wasting my time with him. He's just too amateurish. He's like a little child. You see,
What?
Mark, when when you're born in Georgetown, you were born like me. I live on Leopold Street. You gotta be smart, street smart. It's different when you spend your first 20 years around street people and smart people. You gotta be as smart as them. This boy spend his whole 20 years, first 20 years in my hike at the back down catching board and so.
I'm
Oh
cricketer.
man, who catch board?
Cricketer.
And Garland and son carry home pigeon for cook and smart like a man who born and grow up on the street of Georgetown, surviving. The first 20 years of your life is the most informative, and that's where your brain is molded. Now in a book, and you catch board on a dam and your foot now in someone.
I'm cricketer.
Cricketer, you're catching cricketer, you're catching trench crab and all them kind of thing, and eating it. Them
Brian,
thing I'm like for eat, man.
before we go, Brian,
Karen Crow and all them thing you eating. Them thing are
I
right.
got, I got two other. Thank you. They're still eating that. I got two other questions. Some folks might say Brian is upset because he didn't get nothing, he didn't get contract, he didn't get access to nothing, and Brian is now speaking out. How do you respond to that, sir?
If I wanted, Mark, if I wanted, I could have gotten. If I had asked, I could have gotten. I challenge Jack Deal and any member of the PFP, anybody, show one instance of me saying I want a job, I want something, I want something, I want anything. Show one instance of it. Show where I asked for a contract, show where I didn't get a contract. I got a friend from Canada, very political, in all the chat rooms all over. And he called, he said, Max, how you can be so quiet? I said, I'm waiting for August of 2023, when the 3 years bell bang, because I believe in rope. I believe you got to give a man space to hang himself. And if you give the PP space, them by just hang themselves. You don't got to hang the PP. You don't have to do nothing to the PP. Get them by rope. And that's what I did to them. I gave them rope, and in the meantime, I'm making notes, calling people calling me. And because people want me to get involved, they're sending information. So I have a wealth of information, all the crooked deals. For instance, like Critic. I mean, Critic is a good little buyer. Get up in life, you get a little push. But why would Critic, who just formed a company, get a $800 million contract, brother? $800 million? $10 million is plenty money. $15 million is plenty money. Most human beings in this world would never see $1 million cash ever in their lifetime. You're an uneducated person who never even been to school properly. A man with two sons attached to you. A whole contract for $800 million. Well, we don't have value for money in this country anymore. To just give a man who is incapable of doing such a contract. He doesn't have the experience to do it. I don't care how many engineers. If the boss don't know how to do it, the job can't do good. And you're giving out willy-nilly. And the thing about it, Mark, these contracts that are being given out, this is not the oil money you're spending, you know. This is not oil money spending. This is borrowed money from the IDB, the Chinese bank, and all this. Let me give you a little rundown off the back of my head. I had $5 million to do the railway embankment road. There's a loan from China. To do the London Highway, to refurbish it, $200 million. That's from the Muslim bank, Qatar bank. To build the bridge over Wisma, I heard the other day that they're not using Qatar money anymore. They can use their own money to build the bridge across. That's Qatar, that's $200 million again. To build this bridge on the Demerara, $185 million loan from the Chinese. And the Chinese will have to recoup their money. The Chinese have to recoup their money by charging you a high toll. You remember you got locked up and your vehicle confiscated because you demanded that they lower the bridge, the Borbis Bridge toll. Well, that big money coming to this bridge. $185 million. It sounds like a lot of money. But right now, every single day in Guyana, and this is excluding the new ship that just came in, that moved the oil up to 700,000 barrels. When you just the Lisa 1 and 2, Guyana was getting $14 to $18 million every single day. And that's why I always say, and people ask me how I can say that Glenn Lal selling guns for Jack Deal. And I say because Glenn Lal has never mentioned, not one single time, that this predator company that he likes to refer to Exxon as, that these people are actually giving us from 10 to 50 to 18 million US dollars every day. That's signing bonus. That they love to say the PNC stole, that end up going towards the world court lawyers. The 18 million signing bonus. Well, every single day in this country, Mark, or every other day, every 2 days put together, this government of Ghana is collecting in excess of $18 million. And with this third ship coming on board, they're going to be collecting at least $27 million because we get 12.5% of whatever oil is produced. Whatever oil is produced, we get 12.5% of the oil. And we don't get cash. We get a ship. We call up a guy, bring your ship, and put it by the platform. And we collect liquid oil. And we sell that oil in the world market. We sell it. The money from the royalty and stuff like that goes to the bank in New York, in Manhattan, the Federal Reserve Bank that is owned by the Rothschilds. It's a story by itself. But this oil, we sell the oil. We actually get the oil. 12.5% and 2% royalty in oil. Well, the 2%, the royalty 2%, that goes in the bank. The US, the Exxon people actually do that in cash. But 12.5% of oil at every single day. If they're producing a barrel of oil, you do 12.5% of that quantity, and that's the oil we collect every day. We allow it to build up for a month, maybe 2 months, and then we get one big sell-off. The guy who have in charge of Natural Resources Ministry, he's in charge of some little guy who they put to sell the oil and negotiate the oil. I heard that he's selling oil in the black market to North Korea. And if that is found to be true, because it's just a rumor, it is alleged. I'm not saying it happens. It is alleged. I'm clearing myself. It's alleged that that guy is selling oil in the black market to North Korea. And if it is that ever happens and it is funded by the US, we would get sanctions in this country that would cripple us for the rest of our lives. We would end up worse than Venezuela. Because America don't play with sanctions. And they don't make joke with you when you go against their rules.
Absolutely. Bryan, before we go,
so we gotta make sure. That's why we want transparency in the sale of the oil. We want to know how much oil is being sold every month, every week, how much oil we collecting. This Blanco, we collect some oil. No, I don't want to hear we collect some oil. I want to hear how much oil we collect. And I want that number for that to always be transparent and always available to the public.
We all want the numbers indeed. We can't disagree with you again on that one, Bryan. But before we go, you went and you talked your story about discrimination to the fact-finding team, independent fact-finding team from the US, mind you, who canceled their visit to Buxton because they are feeling unsafe as a result of what the PPP guys, thugs, did to them in Linden. Now, let me ask you this. Why do you think, Bryan, that the PPP is so afraid of this independent fact-finding mission team from the US? This team comprised of elected officials, former officials, rights activists, and so forth. Why is Jack Dale and the PPP, why are they afraid of this visiting team?
Because they know they're victimizing African Guyanese in Ghana. And even though the opposition was unable to really put together a good team to make the point, I went there, and my conversation, my topic was economic genocide against black people by the PPP, and I showed that 60,000 black people work with the public sector, and I explained to them why they work with the public sector, because they feel a sense of nationhood. They're proud to. Where do you work? I work at the Ministry of Health. I work at the Ministry of Labor. They like it. They like the prestige of working with the government because they want to give back to their country. And money is not money. They would love to get some money, of course, but money is not their key deciding factor in getting these jobs, because they can go in the private sector and get maybe a $10,000 or $15,000 more. But they like to work. They like to know that they're giving back to their country. So they put themselves in the public sector. And that's the net that I explained. Because that's where Jack Dio now controls it. Nurses can only get 80,000, a teacher 85,000, a school sweeper 75,000. They keep it right there. We had the best performing students at the Caribbean Examination Council with all Barbados, and everybody competing against us. The best, which means our teachers are the best in the world, best in the Caribbean at least. And yet these teachers got to be selling egg ball, pulori, and fish cake and all kind of thing to get by. And you know, Mark, as a child, when you can't get your pulori fast enough from the lady, you're going to shout, Miss Lady, a little louder. Miss Lady, young give me pulori. Imagine you shouting your teacher like that now. Your teacher has become the pulori lady because Jack Dio doesn't want to give her proper salary. 400 US is the average salary for public servant in Guyana. Yet rent in Guyana is 300 US for a small apartment in Kitty Campbellville. And then out of that 80,000, 85,000, they want to take out tax on it. And if they give you a bonus, they want to tax the bonus. And sometimes the bonus takes up your money into the other tax bracket. So you end up paying more tax. And you realize, wait, I thought I get a bonus, but I end up now with less salary. I'm actually getting less money now after the bonus and before the bonus. So somebody said, you want bonus, sir? So I want bonus. No, you got to take the bonus. So it's an economic genocide. It's designed to keep black people poor and hungry and always begging the government, please, sir, give me a little something. And Jack Dio is the mastermind because he believes in keeping you tight, keeping you poor, and keeping you running. And that's what he's doing to black people. And
Max,
he's doing it to 60,000 black people.
You weren't surprised when...
Not 5,000, not 3,000. You're doing it to 60,000 black people.
So you weren't surprised when the PPP guys in Linden attempted to just talk ignoramus talk and broke up things to make it look as though, you know.
They do it all the time. They do it all the time. You see, they do it to your show. If you get them a chance, if they only know the number, they call you all the time. Right. If they knew the number for this phone that I'm on, they'll call it all the time and disrupt the show. That's what they do. And then they come in your chats and they make the lowest, nastiest remark. That's their modus operandus. That's how they operate.
Max, this lawsuit, the brakes for your car, your life being threatened, people are concerned about you. You are not too concerned about that because you believe if you have to die for your conviction, well, so be it. I kind of share that belief as well. But what is your take? If anything were to happen to you, people will know that it's the PPP because under the PPP, it happened to Ronald Waddle. Under the PPP, it happened to Shaw. Under the PPP, it happened to Courtney Crummy Wing. Under the PPP, scores of people disappeared. What do you want to say to folks watching this show right now if anything were to happen to you?
Well, I want people to look out for me. I want folks to keep an eye for me. When you see me anywhere on the road, keep an eye out for me. Come around, stand around. Help out, because I want to make your life better for you. My job is to make your life better for you. I'm going to fight for you. Help me out and back me up. When you see me on the road, come and stand up. Let people know that we're not alone. Let them know that we're not alone. I have no fear of death. I been at the door and I knock at the door and it don't bother me. It don't bother me. So, but they will try again, Mark. They sent the guy by the house the other night to people in the yard and I don't know what the guy came to do. I went out to him, I talked to him, and I think I preempted his strike. I think how I went up to him, I think I threw him off guard. Because the guy is part of a criminal enterprise in my area. Two of the members from the gang, that gang were killed by the police 100 yards away from where he was on my bridge. His father, his uncle, and his nephew are part of the gang. They were the ones who used to organize these little black boys and move them around to rob people, and then they bring them back in this fancy community that they live in. And nobody would know because they're moving in a fancy car. And the boss man, nephew, and the other boss man are known people. They would never do something like that. So they use that as the cover, and they work underneath, and they had these little guys robbing people and bringing them right to the same house where this guy now lives. I didn't know he was there. It was after I followed him down the road that then I realized, oh, he's from this building.
You definitely.
And if he didn't look a little frail, I would have given him the dose. But he looked frail. I said, if Max would hit this man, he might dead. Don't hit him.
Absolutely. Max, listen to this before we go, because a lot of
Yeah,
people
man.
are talking about this throughout the country. People are walking away from the PPP because a lot of these people are saying they're
In droves.
they're ungrateful, all manner of things. Listen to Antidata.
Yeah, my name is Jacinti Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
They have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Well, they got a girl named Sally. What Victor Singh has in court in Diamond on a cyber charge. Imagine a man like Victor Singh can put somebody on a cyber charge because he got PPP connections. And the same Victor Singh is the man who did an audio recording and had shots of Jack Deere house that he sold to Vice News. I got that information yesterday. So the same guy who is working with them is working against them. Victor Singh used his phone camera, because he was taken to Jack Deere's house by a TSU guard who, boss man, I got an uncle want to meet you, and he's a good supporter. And Victor used that opportunity and he went in the house. And he recorded Jack Deere's house, audio and video, and he sold it for quite a bit of money to Vice News, Sue Gate. Remember Sue? Sue? Neighbor, my neighbor. Oh yeah, he's my neighbor. All of a sudden, Jack Deere won that rather one house that he said he sold to Honey Ross. He never sold to Honey Ross, still his own. And he owned Prado 2, the first one, and then he bought Rodney Launcher own next door that Sue was living in. And I understand he bought the piece across the road. So Jack Deere sooner than later he will own the entire Prado 2. Because that's the kind of money the dude got. And then he got a house in Eddie Boyer's place. At the back of Giftland Mall. He got another house. And land in there is $1 million US. Just the land. And I heard it's a top of the line house again with Italian marble floor and chandeliers and every house another $1 million US. Where Jack Deere get $2 million US from? So just build a house to put 3 people to live inside. Where you getting this money from?
And all of these, it is alleged that he owns all these properties. Quickly.
He not alleged. He own it. He only one in Queenstown where he's going drive in and drive on the lawn. They start locking up the gate since I did it.
Take this one here quickly before we go. It's going to put a little smile on your face, but it's serious stuff as it pertains to cost of living. You are all over town, whether Leopold Street, Tiger Bay, your old stomping ground, Charlestown, Albistown. People think that you're just from one of those big high-class neighborhoods. They don't know where you come from.
No, man.
1 second.
Grandmother's from Portis and James Street.
Listen to this, please, Max.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You got to get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You got to get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Are so rough in that country. Explain.
Uncle Marky, if you want to know something, in my inbox, it's not Afro guy and he's calling and begging for a little something, you know. It's the Indian PPP supporters begging me. The one house lot. Did you see when I drove in that place yesterday, all the houses that were built that nobody living in, Mark? Thousands of them. Thousands of 2-bedroom, small cottages, and nobody living in them. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? What Susan Rodriguez waiting on to share all these things to poor people? Even if you don't give Afro-Guyanese, even if you don't give black people it, get your own PPP support them and know they don't sell it to themselves. They've sold out all the buildings to them, that's why it's empty. And they got Hussein Security guarding it. Hussein Security is the PPP guy who formed a security company little after the elections. He had it before, it was a little thing. Now Hussein Security is a big thing. Like Sheriff Security, that is really owned by Jack Deere. Sheriff Security is by Jack Deere. Being fronted by the other mad guy. And a man only got like 3 million US, the name. After they lock you up in New York for the straw buying story where you used to falsify the records to show that you had more than enough income to get a mortgage, and he had to spend all the money, sell out them Lamborghinis he had and so. And the man only got like a 3 million US stash somewhere. He ain't got that money with a spending there, helicopter and all that. And the man ain't got that money. And Sheriff Security, which is the brother of the man, he don't got no money. Cause he still owe Ran Prasad rent for the place we had Sheriff Security at Brickdam and Sendal Place. He still owe Ran Prasad money for rent. And if you owe Ran Prasad money, who is a old man in the street, who else you know? So when he getting money for buy all them people got about 400 vehicles. Every vehicle $3 million. Money like water.
Bryan,
Just now, Sheriff Security can guard them the dead people at the morgue. They'll have a guard for every dead man. So the morgue can got like about 50 people in.
Bryan, thank you so much for your time.
From Sheriff.
Safe
I don't know I don't know what the Americans waited on. I tell them, bring in the helicopter, bring in the Apache and Kaiway this man one time. This is a whole little bit, have patience. I say I ain't got patience, man. Kaiway this man one time. Y'all got enough information in this man. I give y'all enough information. Kai this man away.
We all wish it could happen today. Thank you, Bryan. Continue to be safe, man. We'll talk.
Yeah, brother. All the best, Mark. To the viewers, thank you for listening.
Yeah, Bryan Max there for you guys. Telling it like it is. But guess what? While Bryan Max and I were on the live, guess what's going on? Tanti Marl is back from Saudi Arabia. He has a press conference that's going on. Let's listen in just for a couple of minutes.
There has been continuous engagement with foreign ministers in the region and outside of the region. At the level of the Ghana Defense Force, there has been an aggressive communication strategy, an aggressive partnership, visiting, exchange of information between the Ghana Defense Force, the Chief of Staff himself, and other chiefs in the region and outside of the region. And this has been going on at a rapid and continuous pace. Thirdly, at the level of the head, I have been engaging leaders and colleagues, not only in the region, but all across the world, ensuring that everyone is fully aware with the development as it relates to this controversy. So there is absolutely no space we are leaving in relation to the seriousness through which we are treating this matter. However, we must not allow the narrative to be complicated and made complex by the type of social posting that we're seeing. I assure the public that the commitment given to Guyana is unwavering. The commitment by our development partner is unwavering. We've also seen statements from Venezuela
Guys, that's about it. I know it's Saturday. You guys have better things to do with your time, with yourselves. I'm sorry that I had to put that piece there, that little piece there, not making a piece of sense. But anyways, going back to Bryan Max, we thank him very much for his time this afternoon. A lot has been said. Bryan Max understands what happened there, as they claim that he was guarding ballot boxes and so forth. Bryan has come to his senses to understand that there was more to it. There was more to that. And the fact that the PPP is no longer interested in SOPs, they're no longer interested in the elections petitions, sufficient for Bryan Max to think the obvious, what we all knew all along, that the PPP rigged the elections. And that as of now, and I'm glad that Bryan Max said it, that the PPP is practicing economic genocide against persons of African descent. Bryan Max said it. Many, many years ago, Lincoln Lewis said it. Many folks were upset. They were vexed with Lincoln Lewis for saying it. Now, almost 20 years later, Bryan Max has come to the conclusion that the PPP is practicing economic genocide. Forget about those little mini thugs, PPP thugs in Linden that that caused the meeting to stop. And they're happy about that. And then they rushed on NCN to call a press conference and deny the opposition or anybody an opposing view. But they wanted to walk into the city hall chambers, the municipality chambers there, and break up a meeting because they're not involved in it. Those guys are thugs. They should have been arrested. They should have been in jail right now, awaiting some sort of, or lockup, awaiting some sort of charges. But because they have Jack Dale and the likes of Jack Dale to save them for now, save them for now. They are thugs. That is what they are. Walking into NCN, utilizing NCN, talking trash. Some of them can't even speak. God in heaven knows what part of Linden they're from. I know they're not from Poker Street. But God in heaven knows where they're from. The visiting team to Guyana, they have done a great job. And again, I wish to salute them. And I know I say this on behalf of all of you right-thinking Guyanese to salute this group. They decided against going into Buxton today because the PPP left these people hanging. There's no security, no police escorts, nothing for these individuals. And what it appears to be is that the PPP want these people to be harmed. The PPP, Jack Dale and Irfan Ali, they want these people to be harmed. The other thing the other piece of information that came in is that they, in their downtime, as they prepare to wrap things up in Guyana, they just wanted to see around Guyana a little bit other than New Amsterdam. They went all over. And these people worked hard. They're hard-working people on that independent fact-finding mission from the U.S. They're hard-working people. They wanted to go to the Kaitro Fall, and guess what? They reached there with a plane, allegedly, as I was told, Jerry Govaya's air service. I don't know why they use or whether there isn't any other air service that they could have used. But they reached there at the landing out at Kaitro Falls, and then they were told that the plane has mechanical issue and they have to go back. So that's what I'm told. That's what I was told, actually. And so something is suspicious about that. And this is where, again, I go to say that Barrett Jagdale has done enough to put these people, these elected officials and former elected officials, human rights activists and business people in the U.S. to put them in danger, put their lives in danger. Barrett Jagdale has done that. And those individuals who have done it, those who have disrupted that meeting and threatened these people in Linden, of course, they are individuals who are saying that they will forward their names to the U.S. Embassy so that these people can be known for who they are, those thugs in Linden I'm speaking of. And so we got to pray for these people here, this fact-finding mission team, and we also have to thank them for a great job done in Guyana, something that Jack Dale and Irfan, they all wanted to hide. But thank you again to the Dowkins, Hagler, and her team. Thank you guys so much. And to all of you right now, again, thank you for watching today's program. We'll be back. I think coming up, there will be the Lawn U with Shalon Washington. And also at 5 o'clock, they have Wayne Caesar. Wayne Caesar and his Over to You. But for now, my name is Mark Benshaw. Thanks again for watching at this special show where Bryan Max spoke out.
Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cop. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.